name is Hannah Swartz, and I'm interviewing Rebecca Stevens from HQ Publishing Company to learn about her occupation as a managing editor as part of my JMC 1 and 2 final project at Marshall University.
Okay, I work for HQ Publishing Company. It's a local publishing company. We specialize in magazines mostly, but we do some other things occasionally. I'm the managing editor. It's a small company, and so I do a lot. I mean, there's the journalism side where I write and I edit and I assign stories and photo shoots, and I work with our clients for all the different magazines and proof layouts and just all of that. But I also do a lot of the office management, and so I do the bookkeeping, and I send out invoices, and I order office supplies and taxes, and I mean, it's just pretty much anything that you can think of. I probably do it or have done it at some point, and I've been there since I graduated Marshall, which was 2 years ago, so May of 2014. 5 in the office. There's my boss, and then I have 3 other coworkers, and then we rely a lot on freelance writers and photographers for all the content. I have a journalism background in my family. My great-grandfather was a journalist, my grandmother and my grandfather, this is on my mom's side of the family, and my grandparents actually met here in the School of Journalism in the 40s, and actually up here is my great-grandfather, Harold Pinkard, and then over there on the end, if you can see, Ernie Salvatore.
Yeah, that's what Sandy was telling me about.
Yeah, that's my grandfather, so that's his
awesome.
father-in-law. And so he taught here, and then they all worked for the Herald Dispatch or Huntington Papers at some point. So I think part of it is that it was just sort of like in the genes, in the blood. But yeah, I've always been interested in writing. I've always, liked to read and just, had a love of the written word. And my grandfather was very encouraging of that growing up. And after he passed, which was the summer before my senior year of high school, I ended up signing up for a journalism class at my high school, and that's really kind of how I got started. And then I became a journalism major. I was originally print, and then I switched to PR. I think it was my sophomore year. So I've just sort of followed that path ever since, yeah. As far as how I got, the training and whatnot, I mean, the School of Journalism, I can't say enough good things about the School of Journalism here at Marshall. I mean, I had such wonderful professors. The education was just phenomenal, and I love that it's a smaller program, and so you really get to know your professors and your classmates, and especially if you're someone who's really involved and you really try to branch out. Because I know when I started, I mean, I wanted to do different things. Like I DJ'd for the radio station for a while, which I mean, I'm not a broadcast person. Yeah. It wasn't ever really going to be my chosen field, but I just thought, why not? Yeah. Why not try to get involved and, meet some people and whatnot. And everyone, all the professors are just very encouraging of that. And so it's really helped to have that support base. I mean, I'm still close with Sandy. She was my advisor for when I worked for the Parthenon. I was an editor. Summer before my senior year at Marshall, I was the executive editor, and then that fall and spring semester, I was the managing editor. And so, I mean, having that relationship, having that experience working on the Parthenon from the editing side, because not everyone gets to do that, I mean, most people just write for it as a reporter, but to be an editor, I mean, it was just so beneficial, and it's just really helped me in my current job, and just, I think it'll help me in future positions as well. As I mentioned, I was originally print, and then I switched to PR my sophomore year, and I think that was just sort of like a moment of panic, because it was all this, the future of journalism and newspapers, and, and not that PR isn't a great field. It totally is, and who knows, I might end up doing something more PR-based in the future, and if so, then I'm glad that I have my degree. Professor Happy is wonderful. His classes are great, and they taught me a lot. But I am more news-oriented. That's what I ended up figuring out, is that I switched to PR, but it was like I became the president of the Society of Professional Journalists. I worked for the Parthenon as exec and as managing editor, and so by the time I graduated, it was like I'd done more in news than I had in PR. So I think if I had the chance to do something differently, I would have just stayed print, because I think that's where I'm going, that path that I'm going to stay on, long. Okay, well, I get to work about 8:30, and first thing I do is I check my emails, make sure that I respond to anything urgent. Then from there, a lot of the time, just my days can be very different just depending on what we're working on. If we've got something that's getting ready to go to print, it might be proofing the layout, or if we've got content for a magazine that's just come in, I might spend my morning editing stories, or if I need to do some phone interviews, if I'm writing something, I might do that. But if there's nothing like that that's super pressing at the time, then I might switch to the office management side, and I'll, process some payments that have come in. I'll pay some bills. I'll draft some invoices. One of our magazines is the Huntington Quarterly, which is the original magazine to the company. That's one my boss founded 26 years ago, and that is our magazine, and so I handle all the subscriptions for that. So if we've got people that have sent in payments for it, I'll put them in the database, make sure they're up to date, or if they've ordered a copy of the magazine, a back issue, I'll mail that out to them. Then it's like I said, the other magazines we've got, Cabell Huntington Hospitals, Marshalls, the West Virginia State Bars, and the Virginia Bar Associations, and the School of Medicines. And so it might be that I'm trying to correspond with those clients on different things, come up with story ideas or assign stories, or, just like I said, I do a lot of different things. And then the afternoon, basically, it would just flip-flop. I mean, whatever I was working on in the morning, I might shift gears and go the other route. So if I was doing more journalism, managing editor stuff in the morning, I might switch to the office management in the afternoon, vice versa. I like to be able to mix it up for the most part. I never anticipated doing the office management stuff when I graduated. I applied for this job, and then my boss said that, you would be in charge of the bookkeeping, and I kind of went, oh, okay, because I never, accounting software, I'm not a math person. I was like, okay, it's really not that difficult, though. I've gotten the hang of it. So yeah, I think for the most part, I enjoy the things under my job description, which, as I said, is all encompassing, but yeah, I enjoy most of it, so. Organization, time management are extremely important, because we have so many different publications. Being able to keep track of all of them, and they're quarterly, or they're 3 times a year, and so we don't have one coming out all the time, but there is always something going on. There's always story assignments to be handed out, or you're getting stories in, or you're writing something, or you're editing something, or you're proofing something. It's just a lot of the things, they'll hit at the same time. They might be a little bit staggered, but yeah, there's always something to do. Yeah, so it's very important to be organized and to make sure that, you're using your time wisely when you're dealing with that many different publications. Also, you have to really know your stuff when it comes to AP style and grammar. Our clients, sometimes they have different variations of what they like. There might be things specific to each magazine that are a little different. So it's, being able to stay on top of that. But for the most part, we really follow AP style, and it's, in the moment, you got to know. Which we do have a subscription to the online version, but for the most part, it's better to know off the top of your head, I love the chances that I get to write and to interact and meet new people. I really do like working with our clients. They're all very different. Their personalities are different. Their expectations are different. Everything's just unique to each person and to each magazine. But I like that. I think it's good to have that. I think it'll teach me a lot in the long run. I like editing. I really like being able to sit down with my red pen and just mark things. I've had to scale it back because I would sometimes get too dramatic in my markings, and my designers would come to me, and I'd give them back a proof, and they'd be making the changes. They'd be like, no, wait, what? Because I'd have marked through like several things, and I only meant to mark one. So yeah, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I like doing that. But as far as the dislikes, I think I prefer to not do so much office management. Again, it's not that I mind it, and I think it's a good skill that I've acquired, but it's just not something that I ever thought I was going to do. So yeah, ultimately I'd like to move on to something not so heavy on the accounting software.
Made in Cyberlink Power Director, the music is chosen by David Seste and is protected under the Creative Commons license, filmed on location at Marshall University.